This is a video response to Loudmouth TV. And in his video, he asks, what makes you want to get married? How do you know that you found the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with? You know, when you hear about people being married for 40 and 50 years, what makes that relationship last so long? And that's really a complex question, because the answer varies from person to person, generation to generation, and society to society. You know, back when my grandparents were, doing the marriage thing, women back then, that is just what you were expected to do. You were expected to get married, and you were expected to have kids and stuff. And in society, you were looked at in kind of a negative way if you weren't married or if you didn't have any kids. Back in them days, back in my grandparents' days, you were kind of looked at negative if you were single or if you didn't have any kids. If you didn't have a man present, if you weren't a widow, or if your husband wasn't out in the military, if you were just single, you were kind of frowned upon if you were single. That was just the sign of the times. Whereas today, that's just not the case anymore. Women are getting married because they want to. They fall in love and they want to get married. Some women, and I know a lot of them who live life with this feeling of having to have somebody. Like life isn't complete unless they have a man around. There's a lot of women like that. So what they do is they get into these relationships and pretty much hope for the best. They marry the first man that they see, or the first man that buys them a cheeseburger and says that they're cute, and hope for the best. Which is sad. Me personally, I don't think I ever want to get married. I don't see anything wrong with marriage. I think that marriage is great if you can find that person that completes you and makes you feel comfortable. Marriage is great. But I think a lot of us live in the fairy tale view of marriage. The romantic evenings and the great sex and the total companionship. We're in love with the fantasy of marriage. But once you get married, that's when the realities step in. That's when, you realize that you're washing more, you're cooking more, you're cleaning up more, you're having sex more than you really actually want to. Then the babies pop up, and then there's the depression, and there's the lack of sleep, and there's the lack of everything, and then the realities set in. And it's actually the realities that I'm afraid of. The realities is what keeps me from actually wanting to get married. I personally cannot fathom the idea of the same man up under me for 50 and 60 years. I just cannot fathom that idea. I'm saying that now, but maybe in the future I'll get to that point where I want to get married. But right now, I cannot fathom the idea of the same man around me all the time, all day. I mean, even my son has a cutoff point. I think 20 is going to be my son's cutoff point, and then he has to go to college or get married or do something. He got to do something. If I have to pay for college, pay for a wedding or whatever. But being up under me is not going to be an option unless it's absolutely necessary. But no, even my son has a cutoff point, and that's 20. So, yeah, right now, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. That's just my view. That's just my view. If ever a time comes and the right man rolls around and I'm ready and he presents something spectacular, or I present something spectacular to him, then maybe. But right now,